Oh yeah, I found another Gamerant article, which I have done in the past, and it has been fun. So I thought, hey, why not go over this one again? This is 8 Three Houses features that shouldn't be in the next Fire Emblem, and is launched in mid-September. So kind of around the initial hype of Engage. We're slowly getting more and more details on Engage via the Nintendo and Fire Emblem Twitter accounts. So maybe, hopefully, not too dated. I haven't actually read this yet. I guess if this video never comes to fruition, we've seen all we need to see. But I want to take a look at what they think should not carry over from Three Houses, because there are features that carry over, right? The offspring mechanic, the pair up stuff, like there are things within Fire Emblem that carry throughout titles into the series as a general feature of the series. So let's see what they think here. Now this is Byleth and Claude. I'm assuming that means they don't want them in the next Fire Emblem game. Tactical role-playing, blah, 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 taking place in the same universe as Three Houses. Oh, this was, yeah, Three Hopes, sure. Some of the installments, new features get added to the game. Fire Emblem certainly has a share of great features that fans expect of Fire Emblem Engage. However, those features, there are some that should clearly be left out. Let's find out. There's 8. The Monastery. Yeah, the Monastery was pretty great. I don't know. I didn't mind the Monastery. I minded having to explore it between literally every chapter. It felt like a weird way of breaking up the pace of the game, and it made portions of each playthrough that should have been like intentionally kind of like intense, right? Not feel very intense at all. I don't know. It broke up the flow in kind of a bad way, especially later throughout the route that you were on, if that makes sense. But I kind of get why they did it. I feel like, I don't know. I liked it, but it got old. Does that make sense? It got old after a little while. Garreg Mach Monastery. Yeah, main battlefield, yeah. Well, the first few times of the Monastery can be interesting to explore and run around in. The more the game goes on, exploring the Monastery became more of a chore. So they feel exactly how I did, basically. I'm glad I'm not alone in that. Let me know if I'm alone in that in the comments down below. This is especially true for people who replay the game. Yes. It got... Oh, I was willing to put in the work to get every support conversation and every cutscene and all, and like completely 100% complete the game. But the monastery part felt so boring. Like towards the end of my second playthrough, I was like, I don't think I can do this 2 more times. But yeah, I do like the monastery like mechanic in it. It seems like we're gonna have something similar to it in Engage, but I very much hope that they implement it just a little bit differently. Gender locked classes. Is that a thing? Did I not even notice that? Gender locked classes is a strict rule amongst Fire Emblem games, the only real exception being Fire Emblem Fates. Three Houses takes this rule to extreme by gender locking a large number of classes or more in previous installments. Previous games mainly gender locked Pegasus Knights for women, is canonically Pegasus are known just like men. Refuse to let them ride them. In Three Houses, this is a big disadvantage to some characters, for example, male magic-based units or axe and brawling-based female units. Is that a thing? I know that there are different classes and like they have different names, but I just thought there was like a male and female counterpart. Weird. Did I never notice that? I'm so initiated. I'm part of the problem. Wow. Okay. I mean, I knew that Pegasus Knights were usually women. Huh. Interesting. Okay. I will have to go back and see if that fits what I experienced also. Because I always thought you could do like I thought the whole point of like the classes and stuff was to like make it so that your character could be like any class, right? I thought that was the point. But that's kind of wild. Okay. Simplistic map designs. I agree, by the way. I think it's more fun to have characters be anything you want them to be. Part of the fun of, for example, making Bernadetta a mage, and then shouting explosion every time she attacked. It's on the super reference, Megaman. You get it. Anyway, simplistic map designs. Map designs in Fire Emblem Three Houses are quite lacking in comparison to other installments. The maps aren't detailed, and after a single gameplay, they've already been fully explored. A few exceptions, such as the final boss maps. That is a fair critique, I think. I personally really like the objective maps. So, like, getting to a goal point within a certain number of turns. You saw a lot more of that in the the Ash and Wolves DLC for Three Houses, which I very much appreciated. And so I hope that we see more objective-based maps and stuff like that, rather than just a big field with some trees and such. I think that would be slightly more exciting. But who am I? Just some YouTuber. Lame. But yeah, I do. Now that I'm kind of thinking about it, the maps did feel not boring, just not very inspired, I guess. And there were some, right? The one where you had all three houses fighting during the school. I can't remember the name of it. But it's the one where one class wins. You know what I mean? And you can pretty much rig it if you if you somehow manage to recruit literally every other student from every other class. You could pretty much just, yeah. Anyway, that one was fun. I like that, but neither here nor there. Okay, split routes. This is a big contention for a lot of people. That's wild. While his controversial take, the route split was not all that well handled in Three Houses. I disagree. I think it was handled fairly well. I think people are just kind of tired of the splitting. You know? Like, I myself, I definitely want a more, like, streamlined approach. I don't want to think that much this time around. And while I liked the fact that the route splits kind of gave you the perspective of, like, there was there was a true good and evil within Three Houses, but as far as like the house leaders go, there was no like big bad per se. So, you know, if you were on Dimitri's route and you ended up fighting Edelgard, you could still sympathize with Edelgard, and vice versa, because you knew enough about them that nobody was really like the big bad evil that it seems like Engage is going to have, where you have this fell dragon, and we're playing a protagonist who wakes up after thousands of years, and you know, we're fighting the fell incarnation of something. You know what I mean? Like it feels much more direct. I don't mind split routes. I just don't want one now. I want the not this next Fire Emblem, but like the one after that. I want that one to be a split route. This one, I just want something really general in terms of like storytelling. Not to say I don't want like twists and turns and like surprises and, you know, things like that. But as far as the plot goes, it seems pretty generic at this point. Kind of like a mainline title that's trying to be Fire Emblem Heroes, kind of, sorta. But yeah, maybe I'll be surprised. I don't know. It is what it is. But I feel like a lot of people also genuinely don't want route splits. Like, they're saying it's controversial. From what I have seen and what I have heard, a lot of people do not want route splitting. They want just like a seamless story experience, and that is it. As such, the first part becomes drag, practically the same. True. Yeah, the beginning of Three Houses was after you got through the first playthrough and you play it through the second, you're like, okay, I kind of know what I'm doing. On the third one, you're like, oh my god, I gotta do this again. And you know, the first third roughly of the game is always the same, and it's yeah. Anyway, another issue with the route split is the lack of map diversity. Yeah, I can agree. Silver Snow and Verdant Wind practically. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I don't think it's controversial. Maybe they're saying that it's controversial to say that it wasn't handled well. But yeah. Anyway, what's up next? Weird difficulty settings. Weird difficulty settings? Am I tripping? Am I missing something here? In Three Houses, there are 3 difficulty settings: normal, hard, and maddening. It's up to the player to pick them and make the experience as enjoyable as possible. However, once fans look at the difference between each difficulty, it's not that well balanced. Normal and hard have little difference between them, and the game experience doesn't change much, providing little challenge even to noobs. However, maddening is a whole different beast, and it's incredibly hard to transition from hard to maddening. This setting certainly needs to be dropped or changed. I mean, normal to hard, hard to maddening. I don't think they would call it literally maddening if it wasn't supposed to be like a steep jump. You know what I mean? But this is not the first time that a Fire Emblem game has come into controversy for a difficulty setting. Radiant Dawn players will know what I'm talking about. But you know, look. If you want to be sweaty, then you go be sweaty. Okay, you go play maddening. All right, you get your speed run achievement. Yada yada. I'm gonna play it on normal, and I'm gonna play it on casual, and I'm gonna recruit everybody I possibly can, and I'm gonna live my best life that way. All right, and then in future playthroughs, I will make it more difficult on myself. But the first time I go through a game, I don't want to play it on like a crazy hard setting. I want to play it on just like the basic kind of difficulty that the game devs intended it to be, so that I can get, you know, my lore and my story and enjoy the characters and get familiar with the gameplay and the combat. That's what I want on the first playthrough. So I think if you go normal to hard to maddening, you've probably played it repetitively enough that maddening is probably not that bad. But you know, this maddening theoretically might be like a third playthrough, for example. I feel like you probably have a slightly better grasp, but then I don't know. It's not for me, so I don't really have much of an opinion on this particular aspect. But I do appreciate that some people like a really hard tactical RPG challenge, and so I would never take that away from them necessarily. I wouldn't just have normal and hard difficulties. That seems dumb. Anyway, okay, questionable decision there. Lack of weapon triangle. Wow. Weapon triangle in Fire Emblem is a classic feature in nearly every game except for Three Houses. Well, didn't play Shadows of Valentia. While there are certain skills that act similar, it wasn't not. I don't think it was in Valentia. I'm gonna say I don't think it was in Valentia, and if it was, then roast me in the comments. Like blade, axe, or swordbreaker, can be equipped by any class if mastered. This causes a lack of unit diversity on the battlefield. I don't know that that's true. I genuinely don't. Like, as far as like a weapon triangle goes, I think it just will make it either harder or easier depending on your lineup. I think Three Houses likely did not have that because they did not want to try and strong arm players into picking specific characters, because as we learned earlier, classes were sort of locked behind certain stuff, which I don't even remember that being a thing, which now I feel dumb. So I think it makes sense to not have it in that aspect. But if you're going to completely unlock classes, okay, I think that you should bring it back. That's my opinion. I think just make it a free for all, man. Make it a free for all. Customization, right? Player doesn't need to deploy different weapon types. I mean, you can pretty much solo the game with just Byleth if you build them right and you get lucky enough on rolls. That's let's be real. Again, unless you're going like maddening stuff, right? Which then I assume having that is probably slightly more beneficial. Because that would make it even more difficult. All right, simplistic main character. Are they saying Byleth is a simplistic character? Three Houses, very simple, balanced character. On top of that, Byleth isn't very customizable, like in previous games. Okay. I think I see what they're saying. So they wanted something more similar to the character creation that we had in stuff like Awakening and Fates. Whereas instead, what we got here was just kind of a take it as you see it, kind of faceless protagonist. But I think that made, I don't know. You could do character customization, I guess. That would be fine. I am all for more options, and I think more options are generally a good thing rather than a bad thing. The newer Fire Emblem games like Fire Emblem Fates and Awakening, yeah, despite being this makes them more fun. Sadly, none of this is a possibility with Byleth, where only option is choosing the gender and the name. Next generation Fire Emblem games could certainly change this, but the trend seems to be continuing with Elier. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it a stack. I don't think you're gonna be able to customize them, because they had a fairly well-known VTuber creationist person, designer. I don't know what the trade is actually called, or the skill is actually called, but they are a VTuber designer. Okay, and so if they're gonna do that, I think you're probably stuck with out-of-box features. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't go out of their way to hire somebody to make a very unique and intentionally designed looking character and then just let you customize that. Maybe they would, but the red and blue hair choice is a very bold and intentional decision. And I think they're probably going to force you to capitalize with that. So I would agree. I don't think they're making a move to that. And then assigning assistant. Assistant assignment is a new feature in Three Houses, which takes inspiration from the pair up. Oh, okay. Previously, the pair up feature helped with a lot of movement, and even had a lot of disability free. Strangely, Fire Emblem Three Houses limits this only by letting the player assign an assistant up to 3 characters, provided the professor level is high enough. Before the battle starts, what's more, they come and the game assistant support development between characters throughout the game. Features definitely needs to do it. So they want pair up back, which I don't think you're gonna get that. I don't think it's likely you get that, because the whole thing with Engage is that you're equipping an emblem, which is basically a ring that is a different title lord from one of the other series titles, and that's who you're like pairing up with. I don't think you're going to be able to pair up with characters from within Engage. I think you're going to take Engage characters and pair them up with, you know, who we've seen in the big Lord Circle from the little stone thing in the thing that we saw. So, you know, your Lyns, your Sigurds, your Celicas, your Micaiahs. I think that's who you're going to pair up with and engage with, I guess, technically. I don't think we're going to see a return to that. You know, it's fine. I never really used pair up as like a mechanic to cheese stuff. I know a lot of people did when they played, and it made it a lot easier, which, you know, it again, totally fine. I just used it to cheese supports for the, for the most part when I was unlocking supports. That was the whole point. That, you know, but I don't really have a strong feeling about pair up. Honestly, it doesn't really matter that much to me. But this is the #1 thing that they want to return, but I don't think that that is going to happen. But hey. But hey, there's another one. 9 features from Three Houses that should be in the next installment. Well, hey, maybe we'll look at that one next and see what they think. But I think that's enough for this one particular video. Let me know what you think should not be in the next game in the comments down below. And what you've seen from Engage so far that you're most excited about. I know I haven't talked a lot about it on the channel. But I'm going to be talking about it more soon, beyond the point of little snippets that we get on Twitter. But that is it for right now. So thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of those things that help me be successful. I very much appreciate it. And until then, I will catch you next time.